Hi everyone, delonewolf here, and welcome back for some more EVE Online. Welcome back also to Jita, the largest trade hub in EVE Online, because in today's video I want to take a look at some of the changes to the blueprints and to try and get a good feel and maybe even look at some of the market information for some of the new components. This is probably the best place to do so. I'm also sort of preparing some stuff in EVE, and a lot of you guys actually mentioned that I should look at the Sunesis for a transport ship, so I try to do something. Definitely give me tips in the comments if there's like big mistakes, but I basically went with something super simple. 3 inertial stabilizers that decrease the align time substantially. Without this I think we're well above 2 seconds. Now it's 164. Then we get a damage control for some resistances, a little bit of extra resistance with Multispectrum, since well it is a Society of Conscious Thought ship, and so as a result it has those regular resistances, or the equal resistances over everything, and then just more HP, a couple of medium shield boosters, HP in the rigs as well, and that gets me 7,800 almost HP for the shields, and then we can transport like 600 cubic meters or something like that. So let's take this baby out as well under this fitting. If you guys have different fittings or stuff that can help for a transport Sunesis, let me know in the comments, but I'm gonna fly around a little bit and see how it feels. So here we go. Oof, that took a little bit of time to load, but here's our little Sunesis with 600 cubic meters, and let's maybe just go to like one of the other stations first, warp within 0, so that we have our turning like that. Oh man, and that re-acceleration, that was... damn, that was pretty good actually. Nice, I like this. That felt pretty good. So here we'll be landing, then we'll take a gate, probably like the perimeter gate where it's usually quite busy. Something like that. So now we're almost at a full stop. And then we are in... yeah, alright. That, I have to say, guys, I was a little bit surprised. I thought, you know, for BPCs and stuff like that, Frigate is your go-to, but this has just that much more cargo capacity, and it still feels very nimble, a very fast warp time. It's gonna be tricky to try and catch this one. So let me know in the comments, for instance, do you guys put like rigs that can decrease your align time so that you can go to warp even more quickly, or how does that work? This is what I've built so far, just a decently quick brick tank. So now we're completely in a different direction, but we turn, and in the turn we get back out to Jita. This feels pretty good. I think I would feel comfortable definitely moving BPCs, because you know they basically don't really have a lot of value, but also moving some like faction loot from exploration in this ship. But maybe we could tweak it a little bit. I'm definitely open to suggestions. And here we come back to Jita 4.4, of course, where we get a lot of action always in system and on the gate, although it is quite early in the morning here in EU, so there's only 1100 people in Jita at the moment. Let's see if we can dock up here. Will it let me? Approaching the point. There we go. Finally, we are docking. Something to be careful of, because there are sometimes gankers ready on that warping point if you have that docking problem. But then let's move on to the second part of the video, which is about these blueprint changes. So for that, I think the best place to go is to go to the market. You can see I took a little bit of a sneak peek, but let's maybe start. It's obviously all going to be in ships, and then let's maybe start with the small stuff. So here's frigates. We'll just take a quick look at a couple of them. And so the Atron blueprint, that's now 32,000 tritanium, 6,000 pyrite, 2.5 mexilon, and 500 isogen. This is easy, doable, and overseeable. And so then I'm going to take a quick look and see, for instance, a Condor. It's the exact same cost in minerals. So that is a big change here. Oh, and then an Inquisitor costs less, 24k for 5. All right. And then what does a Crucifier cost? 24k as well. Magnate 35.2 for a bit more of an exploration based one, and then the Punisher is more of a combat ship, 32,000. So you've got several tiers. Let's take a quick look through the Galente ones then. So Atron was 32k, you know, that's like the Tritanium benchmark, you could say. Then we've got the Imicus, which is 35.2 because it's exploration based. Then we get an Incursus 32k, combat again. Maulus 24k, so that's like remote reps or something. I'm gonna assume Navitas also really cheap, and then the Tristan 32k back into the combat. So for frigates, right, this is a lot easier and a lot more uniform. You know exactly what to expect for all of the frigates. Next up, we'll take a quick look at some destroyers as well. So here's the Courser blueprint, 80k 1551. All right, and then the Dragoon is exact same thing. Is that for all of them? Let's take a quick look at the Algos. 80, 15, 5, yep, 5, 1, and then the Catalyst is the same thing. This does make something like a Catalyst, which is of course used for ganking, I think decently cheap. We're gonna take a quick look at that in fact. So can I just do view market details for the outcome? These are currently costing around 2 million ISK. Well, they were influenced quite heavily, of course, by the increased cost of minerals themselves. And they may cost a little bit less. I'm not sure what that is. But the big change, I would say, is that they're now basically uniform, right? All of these destroyers cost the exact same thing. After that, we've got the cruisers. Let's go take a quick look at these. Maybe we'll switch it up, go for Minmatar cruisers, for instance. So here's the Bellicose. Nice round numbers again as well. Definitely a big step up, though, from the destroyers. 540,000, Tritanium 180, and so we've got 4 of these. That's a 405, so site is definitely cheaper. And then we've got the Rupture back at 540 for the trade benchmark, and so is the Bellicose, and I will take the Caldari ones. So we get a Blackbird 405, Caracal 540, Moa 540, Osprey 405. Oh, that's kind of interesting. So the Bellicose, not all of them are weight the exact same thing apparently. So here we get a 405, 405, 540, 540 probably for the Vixor, but for some reason the Minmatar ones have 3 540s. So the Bellicose, yeah, the Rupture, the Sight. Oh no, the Sight is 405, yeah, and then the Stabber is 540. So they really have done like a weight, I would say, of the usage of these ships, and then try to make some of the least popular ones apparently a little bit cheaper. But still very simple. Tech 1 minerals, pretty straightforward. Battle cruisers next. I'm not sure what happened here, so we'll take the all popular Drake 2. Alright, still minerals, including now Megasite, Zydrine, Noxium. So that does increase in complexity in the sense that if you want to mine this yourself, you gotta go to low-sec, you gotta go into null-sec. But even before all of this, right, buying the Zydrine was never a problem. And so we get 2.8 million titanium, 1 million pyrite, and etc. So pretty understandable, straightforward. And we're talking the Naga up to 364. Yeah, this is kind of a special one, of course. Because it's a battle cruiser that can wield battleship-sized weapons. So those are a step up, but that seems to be the pattern here. So then let's take a look at this. Harbinger, 2.8 million, and then the Oracle can use the better weapons, 3.6 million, and then the Prophecy back to 2.8 million. So that is definitely the pattern here. Let's take a quick look at the Minmatar. I'm not too familiar, but yeah, Cyclone, pretty good ship, 2.8 million. Trade Hurricane also, and then the Tornado, of course, for the gankers goes up to 3.6 million titanium. But again, understandable, uniform, and another step up. Now, let's take a quick look back here for the frigates. Frigates. Let's take the Heron here, for instance. So that is high-sec, and then a little bit of low-sec stuff. What does the Merlin cost? Same thing. Yeah, all of these will always cost a little bit of isogen. You have to go into low sec. So if you want to get into industry and you want to do everything yourself right off the bat for the frigates, you also will have to go into low sec to grab a little bit of isogen, but it's really not a lot. So maybe you could risk that in a venture or something like that, of course. But so up to the battle cruiser, battle cruisers were basically still in the old system where it's just straight up Tech 1 minerals that you mine and then refine. But then we're gonna move on to the battleships, and this is where we're seeing some pretty nasty changes, you could say. So here's the Abaddon, 8 million titanium, but then here are the extra components that are described as built from other materials. They are used in Tech 2, Tech 3, station or fuel block manufacturing. I think CCP is going to have to change that description because, of course, these battleships, like in Abaddon, is not either any of these types of items, but we're talking 200 auto integrity preservation seals, 1 core temperature regulator, and 100 life support backup units. So these are the new additions, and you know, you'll immediately feel that this is a step up, right? We've got the previous part which can build up to battle cruisers, but then if you want to go and build your own battleships, let's take a quick look at we'll start at the top. 200 auto integrity preservation seals. These require bacteria and protein. Pretty easy and common to do on PI, that's not a problem. But then here comes the complexity. Reinforced carbon fiber, so we need 10 units for that. If I look at the information, we need we have a formula blueprint to create this, which is created from carbon fiber, oxy-organic solvents, and thermosetting polymer. And if you then go deeper, it's more reaction stuff. So we are talking about reactions on reactions, and here we finally come to atmospheric gases silicates, which is a refined product from moon mining, and then fuel blocks, which is also something and that takes a whole lot of PI with some ice products. So the complexity here is just a massive step up, and I'll be honest, this is probably not really doable for solo players anymore, especially not, I'm going to say, solo players that, like me, stick to a single account. Here this is all right, you gotta go into a corporation and you gotta make yourself useful and choose basically you know, an aspect of this. Are you going to be someone that's going to do PI and ice mining, or reactions, or the final products, you know, mining the minerals, putting all of that together? But that complexity is up by quite a lot. So this is, let's take a quick look at the cost of all of these. 8 million trits, 8 million trits. So for now, does look like all of these are basically the same. Quick look at the Galente ones, 8 million. Yeah, so all of these are the exact same cost. So all of the battleships should, in my opinion, coalesce into a same price, which I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, but that is the choice that CCP has made here so far. And then we took a look at these auto integrity preservation seals. Let's take a look at a core temperature regulator. Caro structures water, that comes from PI, pressurized oxidizers, and reinforced carbon fiber. So more reactions that require reactions that require reactions, really, that finally go into this moon mining stuff with a little bit of fuel blocks. I mean, they had gone down to really low prices, so I can definitely understand that. But if you then go, can I click on this? Yeah, it's just a used in, so this is a refined product, not a problem. But I'll try to dive back in, so the ice blocks are basically another step in complexity. And then we've got a life support backup system that uses water and oxygen. All right, thematically makes sense. If you play Space Engineers, you know that ice goes you know, is also used to create oxygen there, and water, of course. And then we get some more reinforced carbon fibers. That's again that whole reaction treadmill, which even these oxy-organic solvents, let's see what that costs. Hydrocarbons, atmospheric gases, and oxygen fuel blocks. So that's a lot of reaction stuff that will need to be used in order to go into the battleships. And you need, so what do you need? You need miners for the regular minerals, you need miners for ice because you need fuel blocks, you need PI, and then you need miners to go into moon mining as well because you need this type of stuff for your reactions. You need stuff from everywhere just to build a battleship. So that's definitely a very big change, a massive step up in complexity. And I kind of wonder if I view in industry. And this is maybe also one thing that I'm going to say here, is that for newer players and for solo players, as I've said, this is such a big step up. So if I click on this, I can see that, all right. And it's really not super intuitive. And I'm also the type of player that doesn't really like to have to go outside of the client to enjoy the game, which is definitely in a complex game like EVE Online, you know, a bit of a drawback. I was not going to download that entire Excel and do a full analysis of that to fully understand everything that was needed for the new industry changes. No, I'm doing it like this. This is definitely what I was planning to do anyways. Just take a look at it, and when while playing the game, I want to see what is doable and what is not doable. And this does feel to me like, oh, solo, no way. I'm not going to be manufacturing my own battleships completely solo at this point. I could do this, of course. You could just buy all of this from the market, but if you want to go like from the gathering, then to the manufacturing, and then finally the final product, that's just such a complex thing that it's almost impossible to do that solo on a single character, which is probably the whole point, of course. But what I would like to see is that this becomes a little bit more, I would say, intuitive or doable to get that whole picture from within the client, because now you do have all of this that's doable, right? Mining, refining minerals, that's doable, but all of this stuff, can I right click and do this view in? Nope, can't do anything like that. So I would have to go like this, and then I would have to do this to view in industry. Which brings me to the bacteria, and it doesn't tell me where this has to be gathered from, and then the reactions, which again doesn't really tell me a lot. Total estimated price for this, 1 million ISK. All right, that is quite expensive, but yeah, this is me exploring, and I have to say it's become very complex all of a sudden. So what I will also do is take a quick look at the market prices for these things. So here is the auto integrity preservation seals. Availability is next to nothing. Started at kind of ridiculous prices. They're now going for around 2 million ISK. All right. Let's see if I can easily get back. Maybe I should have just kept it. Let's do view in industry. Can you do it more easily from here? Yeah, view market details. That is super expensive at the moment. 133 million ISK here. And I can go like this, do view market details. And that's going for a 1.3 million ISK. So this market definitely will need a little bit of time to settle down, I think, so that we can get the regular supplies up and running and get all the prices in order. It's going to be a little bit of fluctuation. Expect that on all of the ships, since all of them cost the exact same thing. But after that, we should see all the prices come together at a certain range for all of these Tech 1 battleships. So that's my expectations on how all of this is going to play out. But yeah, the complexity of this is up quite a lot. After that, we are also going to take a quick look at some of these bigger ships. So let's take carriers. Can I do that, or is that... well, let's just go straight into Titan then. It's as big and as complex as it gets. I can do view in industry, and this requires... So we've got the regular capital propulsion stuff, all right. And then down here, added, what is new is... RO trigger Neuralink conduits. Does it give you like an estimate? Probably not a good one just yet, because all of these total estimated price still unavailable. But that's going to be interesting to see what that's all going to cost. 5,000 of these preservation seals, 40 capital core temperature regulators. Can I do view market details on that? They're not even available in Jita at this point. Yeah, this still needs quite a bit of time to mature, basically. But the complexity of this, I think, will be quite mind-blowing as well. Let's do... first of all, didn't these change? So here we have... Alright, no, that has not changed so far. So this is just titanium. I thought some of them might have changed. Let's do capital jump drive. No, so that's still just minerals. Alright, then let's do... I'm gonna do a quick check. That's all still just minerals. Alright, and then what about this? Show info. So this requires 4 items. Reaction orientation Neuralink stabilizer units. Let's take a look at that, which is a reaction formula, which requires gas as well now is coming up. And here this AG composite molecular condenser, that is actually loot from data sites, but you'll probably want to go into wormhole space on Earthsec to find those comfortably, because in HiSec I was super lucky when making my first video. Since then I have found 0 of the new stuff there. And again, we have a little bit of extra fuel blocks as well that should definitely fuel demand. Now, if you're worried, right, all of this has gone up in complexity to really massive amount. Here we've got actually advanced PM materials, so that's quite costly all of a sudden as well. Don't be, because of course we know that in the last couple of weeks, since in fact the announcement in March, all factories that could have gone into complete overdrive, they've made as many battleships as they can, as many capital ships and super capital ships as they can. Everything that they could still run on the old version of these blueprints has been put in the oven, and so that should help stabilize the market a little bit. But this is definitely such a step up in complexity that it is going to take quite a bit of doing. Look at it, look at this, look at how complex and how huge the list of stuff that you have to gather now is for a Titan. Of course, the largest, most complex. I fully understand that's not something that a solo player would do, but for me, this is not even overseeable anymore, because within all of these items there's more reactions, more blueprints, more stuff to gather. This is just a massive endeavor, which is of course probably the point for CCP, because Titans are not meant to just be thrown away in a fight, which did tend to happen, I would say, at the height of the resource bonanza in EVE Online. And so this is definitely going to make it so much more complex and hard to create extra Titans, that the current ones will go up in value probably quite massively, but it's also going to be a lot harder to gather them, and this gives them many levers in order to make it harder or easier to produce these types of ships, depending on what CCP actually wants to do, without impacting all the other ships. And then you may ask yourself, what's the problem, right? Let's say that you're not happy with the battle cruisers, right? You're saying it's too easy, they're too cheap, people are throwing them away. We want to make it harder. We have battlecruiser proliferation, right? You could say, why don't you then just add 1 million to everything for the Drake? That's going to make it that much more expensive and harder to do. Well, sure, you could do that, but remember that all the other ships below the Drake also just require minerals. And so if you're going to increase the demand for titanium by that much, you're also going to increase the price of all of the other ships below, because minerals in general are just going to become more expensive. And so what the new system does allow them to do is say, all right, we're not happy with the battleships, but we don't necessarily want to impact the other Tech 1 ships. Well, we're not going to touch these minerals, but we can touch what happens with these components down here in order to affect the battleships. Now, I think everything here for the battleships is a part of every single capital, so potentially that could be a bit of a problem, but actually no, because if we go for carrier, for instance, let's take a Chimera blueprint, they have other extra stuff that like I think it's this, the auto integrity preservation seal, and then the other one is definitely let's see if I can, so that's actually still used in the Abaddon as well. So let's go to the Archon blueprint, and then it's probably, this is an icon I haven't seen there, an FTL interlink communicator blueprint. So this is one where they could potentially say, all right, we are going to make this one harder to get, more complex if we want to get carrier prices up, make those harder to make. And this is also, look at what you need for a radar if FTL interlink communicator. So you get some minerals, I understand that. Broadcast nodes, self-harmonizing and wetware mainframes, all right, that is from PI, but then tungsten carbide, fullerite, phenolic composites, fermionic condensates. We know those from advanced materials, but most players, I think new players especially, will be completely unknown. Then fuller gas stuff, fullerene stuff, also through reactions, graphene nanoribbons, carbon 86. This is such a huge list, such a huge and complex endeavor that, yeah, you do immediately get that feeling as well, right? Up to battlecruisers, it's doable, it's soloable. Battleships, that's a big step up in complexity. We are, as I've said, talking about moon mining, regular mining, ice mining, PI, and reactions. So you have access to reactions, and then you go into capitals and super capitals, and it just becomes a huge list, which I don't even fully have the visual of how that works. It would in my opinion, be kind of interesting if they would also look at improving the industry window, so that maybe it could give you some more tips, right? If you look at this full RC60 and it maybe adds what's the source, where do you have to go in order to find that or something like that. I mean, this is now a bad example because we know where gas, minerals and fuel blocks come from, but there's other intermediary steps that are like complete question mark. I have no idea what is happening. So very, very interesting change. As I've said, it gives us quite a few levers. Now I'm going to take a quick look at the Orca because I did notice some stuff here as well. So then if we go to industry, didn't some of this stuff change? No. All right, I'm apparently wrong on that. So the Orca for now is still just minerals. Is that correct? Let's do view market details. No, goddammit, Orca blueprint. Show info. Can I do view in industry, please? Oh, there we go. Does this not show up in the industry? Oh, the Orca blueprint has not been updated correctly. So that's what I noticed. I was looking for what the hell, something changed, but so if you look at the Orca blueprint itself, it looks like it's just capital parts, which just take minerals. But then if you actually do view in industry on this one, so you get show info and then you can right click, or it's the Orca itself that's not showing up, and then you do, goddammit, view in industry. Here you can see that it also does cost, just like a battleship, auto integrity preservation seals, core temperature regulators, and life support systems, quite a few of them that still don't have an estimated price at the moment. So know that quite a few of these are changed, and apparently there's still a couple of bugs in the system. Is that for all of these? So here's the Orca on industry. Let's take a quick look at a battleship on industry. Ships, battleship, standards. Let's just take the Raven, like how that looks. Yeah, it doesn't show up just yet here in the industry bit of the windows, of the ship windows itself, information panel. And then if you go to information here, you can see that the added components are on the blueprints. And then you can always view into industry, and I would love that they would like give us more of a clue on this, right? Maybe have a link to the blueprint so that I could also do view in industry with like a right click on this, and then we could you know, explore all of that without having to go through the small information menu itself. That would be handy in my opinion, just to get that overview. But for now I would say up until Battleship could still be doable solo, but not from the ground level. You will have to buy stuff from the market, bring that together and do the manufacturing that way, which is probably going to be the go-to for a lot of these newer players and high-sec manufacturers, in my opinion, which also, man, we've been going for half an hour, but I love talking about this stuff, is potentially an interesting opportunity, because all of that reaction stuff can only be done in, I'm gonna say low-sec, null-sec, and wormhole space, if I'm correct, and so maybe a reaction wormhole could become something of the future, and otherwise, I would say the border regions with low-sec could be very interesting if local producers, if you outproduce your manufacturing capabilities for capital ships, let's say, what are you going to do with all of that extra except try to sell it? But they may not be willing to move it to a trade hub, and so they'll overproduce. Who is going to buy that? No one. So you could get very cheap, in my opinion, new components after a while, not right now of course, very close to low-sec, and then moving that stuff to the trade hubs for manufacturers that, you know, are lazy enough that they're just going to buy that from the market. There could be massive markups and opportunities in that movement as well. That is my personal expectation on this, because yeah, battleships, you know, gotta go into low-sec, gotta have a structure, gotta do reactions, gotta have ice, gotta have mining, gotta have PI. All of that needs to be brought together, which is still what the trade hubs are really good for. But a lot of that production has to be very far away, and so that difference in that travel distance is potentially very lucrative for those that are looking for opportunities that way. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. A look at these changes to the blueprints. It is super complex, but we will see. I may get inspired and try to do some stuff around all of this as well. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will see you next time.